First things first, read that question. So the question reads, what is the hiker's final distance from the starting point? So let's go ahead and highlight that right there. Again, pay attention to the wording here. We want the final distance from the starting point. So let's read the information and let's understand. So before I read the numbers, let me just read the words around them. So it says, a hiker walks east for this long at this pace, then turns around and walks west for this time and this pace. So ask yourself, everybody, if we are a hiker, here's where the hiker starts. If we are this hiker and we end up going east at first, and then we end up going west from that same spot that we ended up at, what are we going to do with those two distances? With this purple distance here and the blue distance here, what should we do so that we can find out specifically this point right there, the distance between these points right there? Correct. That's going to be subtraction. We want to subtract the overlap here so we can get the simple distance from the starting point. That's what we care about. So with that said, let's find those individual distances, subtract them, and get that final distance. Here we go. For the first part, traveling east, we see that our hiker over here, let me use purple. Let me grab that. East for 2 hours at 5 miles an hour. So we have the time being 2 hours. The rate being 5 miles an hour. Everybody, what do we do with a rate and time to get the distance? Correct. We're going to multiply. We are going to multiply. So 2 multiplied by 5, that's going to give us 10 miles. So this over here, from left to right, 10 miles. Next up, we'll go ahead and do the green. The green discusses walking west for 1 hour at 4 miles an hour. Okay, here we go. And let me actually change that to this right here and erase this over here so I don't confuse you with the other green. But now that we're there, we have our rate being 4 miles an hour for 1 hour. Everybody, if we're only traveling for 1 hour, what's that distance going to be? Yeah, that's going to be 4. Because remember my party people, that if it's 4 miles per hour, that means every hour it's 4 miles. Only 1 hour, only 4 miles. So there we are. We have 10 miles going east, 4 miles going west. We said that we would subtract to get that final point, and that's exactly what we'll do. 10 miles minus 4 miles is going to equal 6 miles. And there we go. That is the final distance that we achieve or that we are from the starting point, making B the correct final answer. There we are, my party people. How are we feeling about this next one? Do we feel like we're understanding the differences, the nuances between these different situations? Let's go. Right on, everybody. Right on. So let's continue the practice. We should be able to get plenty of practice in today's class. Let's keep up the great work here. Remember, fundamentals are important. Keep reading the question first, taking down the information second, and interpreting the information to make decisions. Don't make assumptions, make deductions. Here we go, everybody. Let's go ahead and keep up the good work. Next question. So the first thing we always do, I know you might have heard me say that once or 100 times, but I do appreciate you being patient, as you go through this learning process. Read the question sentence first, everybody. That's going to help you start making sense of everything that's going on, starting with the outcome that you want, the goal of the question. So here, how many square feet of reflective coating are needed to make the sign? Everyone, right there, from just that sentence, from just what we see here, starting and ending over here, what is it that we can say is a key word that gives the farm away? What gives everything away? What 2 words can I underline that will give this away? Oh yeah, square feet, right here. How many square feet of reflecting coating are needed to make the sign. Let me erase all three of those and just really focus right here. Square feet. I want to remind everybody, perimeter is one-dimensional unit, so just blank feet. Area, two-dimensional unit, square feet. Fix that handwriting there. And then volume, that is cubic units, cubic feet. Notice how we are told, you're looking for how many square feet. So that's what gives away that we are, yes, indeed, dealing with area. Not only dealing with it, we're trying to find it. Now, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves because, sure, we might be excited that we know that we're looking for area, but don't get too excited to the point where you forget what formula you're actually supposed to use. What do I mean by that? Everybody, what shape are we dealing with? What shape are we dealing with? Yeah, we're dealing with a triangle. We're dealing with a triangle. It says it right here. A triangular sign has a base of 9 feet and a height of 15 feet. So we're looking for the area of a triangle, everybody. And now is where that memorization really comes into play. So the area of a triangle is going to be half of the base times the height. Another way to write it is base times height divided by 2. That's another way to say it. So you can do half base times height or base times height divided by 2. Everyone, let's go ahead and plug in our base of 9, our height of 15, and then from there, we'll just plug and chug. So here, area 9 times 15 divided by 2. So I'll just take a moment here to do 15 times 9, which is 90 plus 45, so that'll be 135. But we have 5 times 9, which is 45. 1 times 9, which is 9. Carry the 4, 13. 135. So some people might have gotten too excited and used the formula for a rectangle, which would have left you right there at 135. It would have left you right there. But what's actually happening is we need to finish by dividing by 2. Because again, this is a triangle we're dealing with, not a rectangle. So when we divide by 2, that's what we need to do to finish off there. And that's what's going to get us our final answer. 2 going into 13 is 6 times. The only answer that starts with 6 is D. So you could actually stop right there and say that D is the answer. But just to finish this off properly, 6 times 2, that's 12. Drop the 5 to make 15. 2 goes into 15 7 times. From there, 2 times 7, that's 14. We have 1 left over. And we're not going to just write this with a remainder. We're going to go ahead and just draw where the decimal place is. Show that 0 where it is. Because again, 135 is the same as 135.0. We'll go ahead and drop that 0 right there. 2 goes into 10. That'll be 5 times. And there we go. Booyah. 67.5 is the area. 67.5 feet squared. So again, very close if you got A, but there's again the difference between being able to pick up on the keywords, not getting so excited that you forget the formulas, and then being confident enough to finish all the way through and check your work. So the correct answer here is answer choice D. Good job there.